It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The You-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at youlike.com, because at YouLike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. YouLike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. Last show of the week. Last show from the Northeast was in New York City the past 2 days. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but also had the opportunity to come back here, hang with mom, hang with my brothers, with my brother. And that's all good. The trip to New York City was kind of a blur. Scotty, thanks for covering yesterday. Did a tremendous job with Roy Ogletree. And we're back today, presented by Slovacics. Go to Slovacics, especially on a weekend trip like this. And I say trip because people are going places. It's a late July summer weekend. And when you hit the road, you better hit Slovacics. We're talking about folks that are going up that, Carter between Austin and Dallas on I-35. And even if you're not, just make a special trip. All right, go to Slovacics. Also, thanks to Socorro Family Ford, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, First National Bank of Central Texas, Extraco Bank, and Crawford Austin Properties. It starts right here with this, man. I'm just gonna hit it. There you go. Scotty B, the Baylor King, opens up the show with the topic that is on the top of my mind. And by the way, of course, I'm speaking about Hulk Hogan. In our last block, we're going to have our wrestling expert here at Rogue Media, who, by the way, I'm like, why the hell doesn't Zach Burke have a wrestling podcast? Like that should change, and Zach Burke should have a wrestling podcast. But I'll talk to him about that when he joins us to discuss the legacy of Hulk Hogan. And it's a complicated legacy. I don't want to go into an absolute obituary because I think you can find those facts. I want to talk about what's on my heart with Hulk Hogan. And yeah, it's melancholy, right? I mean, he died. He was 71 years old. Apparently the last couple weeks of his life were real ugly. And you hear stories like that about, folks whose bodies are just failing on them, and how that whole mission to stay alive, find a cure, whatever, can become frantic and dark. And, that's a shame. It's beyond a shame. It's a tragedy. But to get into Hulk Hogan and really the force that he was in my life is where I am an expert, right? I can't say that I heard David Shoemaker say this, wrestling podcast guy. He has the Masked Man podcast for The Ringer, and this resonated so well with me. I did not see Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik, right? But because Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik and people were talking about it, that brought me to the table. And I tell you, I never left. I never left the WWF until it was time for me to leave, right? Yeah, I personally still find wrestling amazing and alluring, I'm here for it. I get a kick out of it. I don't watch it. I don't really consume it. If I watch it, I watch clips of old wrestling stuff, stuff that really gets me excited. But Hulk Hogan is the reason that I was dialed into wrestling like I was. And I am, for those years, let's say for me, it was 83. That's when Rocky III came out. Actually, it was 82 when Rocky III came out. I saw that on VHS, right in that room over there. Okay. And I watched it with my buddy Clark Talone. And I was probably 7, maybe 6. And the Thunder Lips scene just jumped through the screen and grabbed my neck. And it was like, you are going to watch this dude for the next, 15 years of your life. And you're going to really think he's special. And that's pretty much what happened. The Thunder Lips character was amazing. And that's because Hulk Hogan was amazing. A lot of times they say, well, this person came along at the right time. Yes, sure. There was some of that, right? But the fact is Hulk Hogan was the time. He was the WWF. He was what drew us all to wrestling. And 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", whatever the hell he was, 300 pounds, Terry Bollea, his government name, but he's Hulk Hogan to us. He's from Venice Beach, California, the long locks, he had the golden tan. I mean, the guy was just built like a brick shit house, and being that big, and then the WWF did its job, Vince McMahon. And I can tell you 1985, right? WrestleMania. That was something my friends going to see it on closed circuit. It was stuff that we couldn't afford. You know what I mean? I remember wanting to go see it closed circuit, but it just wasn't happening with my family. So you'd hear about it. And then you'd eventually see the clips and stuff. And then you'd go back, of course, watching every Saturday morning. And then I can remember clear as day, right? My brother Michael and I, the main event, Dick Ebersol and NBC they get together with Vince McMahon and the WWF, and they put this on, right? Wrestling on in prime time, where they would normally have Saturday Night Live when Saturday Night Live didn't air. And let me tell you how powerful that was. In 1988, it was actually on my birthday in 88, and I sure as hell remember watching this. Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. 33 million people watched that Saturday night main event. 33 million people. I saw a stat today. Forgive me, but I mean, this is in the ballpark, and it gives you an idea. The NBA Finals, the NHL Finals, and Major League Baseball's World Series combined did not have those ratings. Like, think that like that gives you an idea of the force that Hulk Hogan was. And there was a point in time, and this is when I started to fade from wrestling, was when kind of Hulk's star sort of started to shrink a little bit, because I think we saw with Hulk Hogan that you couldn't replace him. You know, the WWF tried to replace him with the Ultimate Warrior. They tried to replace him with Lex Luger. They tried to replace him with Bret Hart. Bret Hart was pretty good. I mean, I liked Bret Hart. And then I don't even know. You know, I know there was a dude named Diesel, but that really didn't. That's when I was really fading. And so anyways, I started to fade, and that was that. And I kind of stopped paying attention. And then Hulk Hogan went evil. You know, my life just evolved. And that brings me to my next point. You know, when I was a kid, and Hulk Hogan would, you know, make that entrance. And I never saw him at an event. I don't even remember, with all my experience in sports, ever being around him or being in the same room. But his entrance at like those big events, or, you know, Saturday morning, you know, remember now, there was a cartoon on Saturday that was a Hulk Hogan cartoon, and then that would lead into WWF on Saturday mornings. But like, it wasn't like I was a fan of Hulk Hogan. I was like a maniac. Like, it wasn't like when he entered the ring, you would cheer. You would lose your shit, like as a kid my age. So fast forward to, you grow up, right? Like, I had great parents, okay? Like, they taught me right from wrong. I knew wrestling was let's say scripted or predetermined, right? You don't want to offend the wrestlers, because I think that what they do is amazing athletically. But you find out it's scripted, you find out that it's wrestling and whatever, okay? That's a little bit of a kick in the nuts. I remember, you know, we were a big news family, and John Stossel did that piece on 2020, which really went into how wrestling was fake. And the one dude slapped Stossel. Stossel had a lawsuit. You know, one time Hulk Hogan actually dropped Richard Belzer, the late night host, on his head doing like a prank. And Belzer was like really screwed up. Had to go to the hospital, and he had a lawsuit as well. But a lot of lawsuits when you're talking about the WWF, WWE. But anyways, you know, Hulk Hogan, like, I'm going to be a prick here for a little bit. Like, I was talking to somebody last night who I may be getting married to next June. And there was a little bit of a holier than thou approach when I was talking about Hulk and what he meant to me. And it was just kind of like, hey, like, you know, that's why I never really had heroes like that. You know, because I was explaining how much I loved Hulk Hogan. It's like, well, that's why I don't have heroes like that. And that's why, you know, I never really looked up to people, athletes, whatever. It's like, I don't put people on pedestals because they'll disappoint you. And it's kind of like, well, hold on here. And I think a lot of people are wrestling with that, with the Hulk Hogan situation. I mean, look, man, the racist comments, egregious, unforgivable, really. And the way he said those, you can look them up. This is really like, really bad, really like racist stuff, right? Not a good dude. And, you know, the sex tape with Bubba the Love Sponge and Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. First of all, I can just speak from firsthand experience. Like, Bubba the Love Sponge, and you can like go ahead and try to sue me or whatever. Nobody will. The guy's like a drug addict. He's a junkie. He's out of his mind. So for Hulk to be like, you know, hanging with that guy and getting into these weirdo sex deals, and Hulk says he didn't think it was filmed, but whatever. So like, flawed guy, to say the least. Okay. I don't give a shit. Like, there's tons of flawed people out there. I rooted for Hulk Hogan. I didn't root for Terry Bollea. And because of the fact that I was raised by two good parents, I wasn't like devastated when Hulk Hogan turned out not to be a saint. I was actually not even surprised because the same stuff was happening with the athletes who I loved. And honestly, if anything, it made me empathetic to the human plight, right? Like, look, man, like we put these people up on pedestals and that's awesome. We celebrate them. But let's be careful about how we maybe tear them down because they're not like Hulk Hogan legit was a character. That's like saying I was really disappointed. I mean, really, this is like, you could really say this. Like I was really disappointed when I found out that like Tom Hanks's character from Big actually didn't turn into like a little boy. Like it's all, we're talking about fantasy here. And the Tom Hanks example wasn't as good as I wanted to make it, but you got the idea. Mom, that was good? Mom says it was good. She's down here making coffee. A late start over here, East Coast time. So, by the way, one more thing about the Hulkster, and just when you want to talk about like the toll wrestling does take on these guys, 25 surgeries, health problems, big time, 40 plus years wrestling in the ring, obviously the steroid use. That's another thing too. And we're going to talk, that's why we're going to have Zach on here later. Zach is not like Hulk Hogan, and Zach knows way more about wrestling than I do. And Zach's whole thing with Hulk Hogan is like, if his lips are moving, he's lying. That's what all the wrestlers say. And his wife, Linda, who divorced, right? She says he was a sex addict and a complete liar. Now, those two things just kind of say that he was a piece of shit. I mean, that's what that says to me. There's a lot of people that you would deem a sex addict. Colin Cowherd always says, like, show me your options, right? And usually that's the person that's a sex addict, right? There are, I'm not dismissing, like there are some conditions there, but I think you get the idea. And the bummer was he was also estranged from his daughter, Brooke, the singer, and because he married this woman, this yoga instructor, like 2-3 years ago, and I guess that kind of broke up the family. But one last like push in the pop culture or moved my pop culture needle was when Hulk Hogan was had that show Hogan Knows Best, right? The reality show, which like had a couple moments, which was interesting when, right around the time like Osbournes and stuff like that. So I think for a lot of us, it was cool to see these stars be who they were, right? To see Hulk Hogan beat Terry Bollea. He also dealt with a tragedy. His son got into a horrible accident. A lot of drama around Hulk. But at the end of the day, like he was a legit character, like a couple final thoughts on him and kind of how he, it was the end of his life was kind of a bummer, right? I know he came back for that one like Saturday Night Main Event just recently when Netflix opened up, or maybe it was a Monday Night Raw, but Netflix had their first show. Hulk came back out of there and he was promoting his beer and the fans booed the shit out of him. And it wasn't like, and this is after he had been at the convention with now President Donald Trump. And he spoke at the Republican convention last summer in Milwaukee. And I don't think the wrestling community is really one that's going to pick sides politically. So I don't think that's why he got booed. I think he just got booed because the wrestling community that really cares saw him as a liar and they saw him as somebody who's hawking beer. It's one thing to have Hulk Hogan introduce Netflix, and their wrestling events to the world, but like to come out with your pitching your beer was sort of lame. I heard him on Theo Vaughn a couple years ago. I really enjoyed that interview. But yeah, Hulk Hogan, rest in peace. The guy was, I don't think anyone, you can go ahead. I don't think anyone that wasn't, around that time that like my age specifically, that group like can understand how important he was in pop culture. I mean, he could have quite possibly been one of the most famous people on the planet for a period of time. And that's pretty wild. especially when you think of how we were consuming things back then. A real product of the 80s, part of that, bigger is better, and America was on fire. And like anything, what goes up must come down. So sad to see that news about Hulk Hogan, and I'll be here to consume some of the documentaries and all that stuff. I find that super interesting. Coming back from New York, had the opportunity to go up there with the Strength in Numbers group. My main man, John Tobias, doing a terrific job. I'm on the board with this group. And if you're first time watching, Strength in Numbers gets underrepresented kids, minorities in the mix to work in pro sports, because a lot of times you think of, who are the minorities working in sports? Well, they're the ones that were the former athletes, right? Well, we're trying to make everyone realize that there's opportunities for you. And you take these young kids to Major League Baseball, to the headquarters, to the NBA headquarters. They took them to NBC. This is all New York City. They were at Columbia. I got to speak to them about what play-by-play is like and how you need people like stats guys and spotters, and just how there's roles there's so many roles that's, so many young people, period, don't know about. But certainly the course of history has proven that minorities certainly have not been afforded the access to a lot of these. So that's the mission of Strength in Numbers. Check it out online, Strength in Numeros. So one of the things we did was we went to NBA headquarters. And, the Caitlin Clark situation moves the meter a lot, right? Everywhere. And you would think if you go on however you consume your news, social media, any place you get news, right? The Caitlin Clark news is often like hyperbolic, and it comes with like a sensational message. We certainly are guilty of that here from time to time, because I do find it super interesting. But lest anyone think that they're over at the league office and there's some kind of fire drill and panic as they try to figure out how they're going to improve like the referees in the WNBA, or how they're going to keep, players from duking it out and Robert Griffin from getting involved, and talking about Angel Reese, and now Caitlin Clark is hurt and players aren't, respecting her. All that noise, like having worked for pro organizations for 8 years of my life, I was brought back to that situation, being inside a lot of those rooms when front office folks are talking about the state of the franchise, or in this case, the state of the league. And there was one basketball operations guy who I spoke with about, the officials in the WNBA. And it's like, look, they're working on it. It's not like, and they're measured in their approach to fix it. But we have this idea, because we push it here too, because again, it's interesting and people like to consume it. I like to consume it, probably because I'm a moron. Okay. But I enjoy it. So like, they don't care. They enjoy, they love that we're consuming it, and they want to make, it's not like they don't care about their fans. They want to make the league better, but like, they're like, yeah, life is good, right? Like, people are talking about our league. We love the rivalries, in the healthy sense of the rivalries. How about this for a story that is not Caitlin Clark related? Well, maybe it is actually. See, that's me missing the point. I might get yelled at. But think about this, okay? The Golden State Valkyries, right? For those of you who don't know, which if you don't, I'm not judging. They're the new WNBA team in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. Their season tickets right now, okay? If they were to be thrown in the mix with NBA teams, okay, they would rank 17th. Now, of course, Caitlin Clark is responsible for for adding juice to women's basketball. But like, that right there is an example and a testament to the real growth of the sport and the league, right? It's happening, man. And it's happening with Caitlin Clark, and she is essential. But at the same time, there's a lot of evidence to support the fact that the league is growing in many ways, and not just down Caitlin Clark Street. And I think that was pretty cool to be able to glean that. And it wasn't like any kind of PR pitch. I having worked in the NBA. I had some relationships. You just chat with some people, and it was revealing, and it was just a reminder for me that like, and it was a little kind of humbling because I do this every day, right? Like I think this is important. It's my life. It is important, and there's a lot of compelling stuff that I think I can share with you guys. But like, they're doing just fine. You go on YouTube, you go on social media, everybody's like, this is horrible, that's horrible, fix this. You go to the NBA league office and they're like, okay, how can we fix this? Let's work on that. Okay, let's meet about that. Okay, let's improve. So like, it is nice to know that like, we are the idiots that react, and the people that are in charge are doing a really good job of staying measured and looking to add quality to a league that is exploding. And so that was a lot of fun. One complaint about New York, okay, before we get to our first break, because I've gone long here. So I lived in New York once, okay, for about 3 or 4 years. It was before I got sober, but I lived in the city, partied, whatever, the whole deal. I love going back there. But when I lived there, I was a younger man. Now, what does that mean? I was a younger man. Well, I probably had like more time in between going to the bathroom. Like we're talking about number ones. Okay. I am of the theory now, as I am in my mid 40s, that like, if you're going to walk by a public bathroom, you might as well just go inside, because at some point you're going to have to go. Right. So I had a lunch yesterday with the great Ethan Routbort, my agent. He works for UTA. So he works in this building, the 888 building on 7th Avenue. We had lunch at the Brooklyn Diner. Ethan paid, thank God. Because that's his job to do that. He takes 10% of my stuff. Like he can get lunch. By the way, love him. And we're working on some big stuff. But anyways, I crush a bunch of Diet Cokes, right? Like, and I leave lunch. Okay. So now I'm walking, and then my brother Michael calls me. I'm walking down in Midtown to check out of my hotel and to go get the car that I brought up there. And my brother calls me. We're talking about Hulk Hogan. So that's like 7-8 minutes. I'm still walking. It's beautiful out there. And then I'm like, I think I got to go to the bathroom. Like, number one. And I knew this had to be psychosomatic, because I know New York City a little bit. I'm like, getting into a public bathroom in New York is no like day at the beach. Okay. Especially if you really have to go to the bathroom. So this is now really hitting me. Okay. And I'm walking by, first time I've seen this in the city, because it's mostly like a Southern chain. I walk by Cane's. Okay. And as I approach Cane's, it is 911 time. Okay. So I get to Cane's. Okay. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm going to start to go to the bathroom. I walk into Cane's. There's a DJ playing music at a Raising Cane's chicken place in Times Square. First of all, I'm in Times Square, which makes this even more of a nightmare. So I walk in, I look at the DJ. I'm panicked. This DJ at Cane's is like, hey man, we're at Cane's having a good time. Like, look at the old man in here. He's got a backpack on, searching for a bathroom, And in my mind, I know that the bathroom is going to be either have a code or there'll be a line. So I get to the bathroom and there's both. There's a long line and there's a code. And now I'm percolating down there. I'm like, I'm walking around. I'm freaking out. I race out of the Cane's, right? And we got like a little, like it's like a little Visine thing going, like I'm trying to keep everything together here. Okay. I go to Carmine's, right? A really nice restaurant there. Because now I look like a contributing member of society. So like maybe I can walk in there and just be like, I need a bathroom, go there. I walk in and this dude is like the host, right? And he could say it all over me. I'm like, bathroom? He's like, over there, dude. And I run into the bathroom, and I'm not going to tell you that I made it. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't make it. I'm just going to tell you that it was a bad situation for the big guy. And it reminded me of, one, I need to like chill on my intake of water and sodas at lunch. There's just not a need to keep crushing them. But two, especially in a city like New York, you got to remember the bathroom stuff there, right? It can be really, really crazy. Anything else for our first block? No, we'll talk a little bit about one quick note. So the executive order that President Trump is trying to work out to basically to help the NCAA manage third-party deals, basically NIL deals. Now, we've known this for a long time. The NCAA has been asking for Congress to get involved and to kind of have a governor over exactly how they will manage those NIL deals, because with the House settlement, you got your $20.5 million salary cap to pay your athletes, right? But outside of that, you have NIL deals. And we'd already heard about, there's a sports commission that's put in place, and I think Deloitte will vet a lot of these deals. But the government is trying to get, or the president is trying to get like a law passed where it would basically make an antitrust exemption for the NCAA so they can put some rules on that. And now people are pissed because they're saying they're trying to, put a cap on what players can make around this time where they're in such a good position to earn money. There's also something that, of course, and forget about politics, but because it's Trump, it gets buried in the story. He's actually, part of the thing is they want women's sports to remain at the Division I level, especially Power 4 conferences. So if your conference or your school makes over $50 million athletically, then you can't limit scholarships anymore for other sports. And you can't limit. You either have to add, and you certainly can't take them away. So there's an effort across the board to just kind of make this situation a little more tenable and healthier. I don't know that it's going to work because they're saying like, this is all stuff that I don't know and you don't either. Don't lie. But it's got to go through the House, and Democrats are not on board with it. So seems like a regular deal. But I like it. Again, forget about the politics of it, but like just give us a little more like rules wise. I think we'll be good with that. All right, the Pete Sousa Show is going to step aside. We're going to come back. Scotty Swingler and I, we are going to talk about the best coaches in the Big 12, talking about football. Just recently, it was released. Our man Peter Mundo on Heartland Sports he ranked all the Big 12 coaches, because why wouldn't you? Mundo's the man. If you want to see his list, you can go to heartland.com. But I wanted to rank mine. And when you're talking about ranking stuff, you got to get Scotty involved because the dude gets nuts. He's informed. He is passionate. And the guy's got a powerful message whenever he talks. The Pete Sousa Show. Thank you, Slovatrics. We'll be right back.
Did you know nearly all stock price changes of 10% or more result from a single news headline? These news catalysts create trading opportunities every day. All you need is a little help to reach out and take them. It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
OsleyMD.com. I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again. OsleyMD.com.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress. It's like a wearable hug for your nervous system that helps you calm down and feel better. The Apollo wearable will send gentle vibrations to your body, like a song you can feel instead of hear. You feel better, you sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Elevate your experience with Grenco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grenco Science. Take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at GrencoScience.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Angles 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Angles90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show is back real quick. I'd like to thank our main man, Kevin Fisher. This guy knows what's up, too. I mean, Kev, NBA PR alum, literally runs the show, right? I think it's the Women's Tennis Association. Yeah, Kev's the man. Thank you very much, Kev. One thing, too, here, very sad news about Big Bill Self. Yeah, that's, I know he had some stuff where he, was not able to coach in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. And apparently he had a medical episode where he was admitted to the hospital, had a couple stents put in. Obviously it will be some heart stuff. He's looked really good the past couple years. And God, I hope he's all right. Bill Self's the man. Just a great man, a great coach, great dude to be around, he treats a guy like me just like Dan Shulman, which is why he's a special guy. All right, speaking of special guys, Swingler, I would like you to come up now. Come on upstairs. There you are. Okay. And let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Big 12 coaches. Now, I wanted to rank Big 12 coaches because when you look at the list of coaches in the Big 12, right? It truly is like when you start to think about ranking, it's wide open, dude. It is wide open. Now, I think Scotty, look at Scotty. Jesus Christ, this guy is very locked in. He's ready. He is ready to go. He's ready to go. It's like, are you trying to intimidate me? Because it's working. If you are.
No, you just feel intimidated because I'm right.
Well, I know how well educated you are on stuff like this, and I know how serious you take it. So it does make me a little nervous. I really respect your opinions. Do you want to do my coaches or yours?
Well, let me respond to what you just said, in that I don't think anybody would argue the Big 12 has the best coaches in college football, but just like I would argue for teams, I think the Big 12 is the deepest league in college football. And just like I would argue for quarterbacks, I think it's the deepest conference this season for quarterbacks. I think we decided to rank our 5 Big 12 coaches, and I probably considered 11 or 12 guys.
Yeah.
Like it is a bunch of B+, A- kind of head coaches in college football.
Yeah. You want to do your list first or mine?
It's up to you, Pete. You're the host, baby.
Yeah, but
you call it. Call your shot. Call your shot.
I'll do mine first because I think you'll be less apt to crush me if you're thinking about how you're going to talk about yours. Okay, so you see, that's not a mistake. That's not.
They teach you when you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan that you can have 2 number 5s apparently. 6 equals 5 in Philadelphia.
Okay, I was locked in. So Chris Kleiman, right? The guy set the FCS on fire and then comes right into Kansas State and like, oh, I'm going to replace Bill Snyder, a legend? No problem. Now, recently, and this guy's won a Big 12 championship. Now, recently, we've seen some slippage maybe, right? But I believe that the Kansas State is a team that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially this year with Matt Wells as OC. And part of my list is a little bit of forecasting, right? Like most of it is body of work, but it's also like, how do I expect these guys to do this year? I think Kansas State is going to have an amazing year. Last year with Kleiman too, there was personal stuff around the team, around him, I'm sorry. And he always said, it's not in my house, but it's very close to me personally. And I think he's going to be back 100% this year, mentally, right? And I look for great things from Kansas State. Coach Prime, that one's pretty easy. I mean, since he's gotten to Colorado, what he's done for the team, and I'm just talking football, he's resurrected that program that was dormant. 1 win before he got there, and you could joke around and say they lost the Alamo Bowl, but they were in consideration for obviously the Big 12 title game till the very end of the season, and people were seriously conversing about them making the playoff. And Dion too at Jackson State was amazing. Okay, Kenny Dillingham. If I could buy stock in one guy in college football, it will be Kenny Dillingham. And I am also very cognizant of like there could be a little bit of a setback this year. 1, because there's a target on your back. 2, because you lost Cam Scatteraboo, and 3, because your quarterback, I think, is like really overhyped going into the season. That's just like I think he's a very good quarterback, but I think we've decided, okay, let's pick somebody to anoint the next big thing. Oh, he went to the college football playoff. I need to see a little bit more from Sam Levitt over body of work, but whatever. You got my Kenny Dillingham. Mike Gundy, this one's easy. Okay, Mike Gundy had a terrible year last year. Now, will it become a trend? We'll find out this year. There's no sure thing. But his body of work speaks for itself. I don't need to talk much about Mike Gundy. Kyle Whittingham, a guy who has been in the conversation for national championship many times, won the Pac-12 when the Pac-12 was legit, okay, with powers like Oregon and USC. So Kyle Whittingham, again, I think he's like an easy pick. I think actually Gundy and Whittingham, like last year, they would have been 1 and 2 with a bullet. And my last one, which Scotty disrespects, is Matt Campbell. And here's why.
Spoiler alert.
And here's why I say Matt Campbell. 1, he is the one guy. Now I might be. Well, it's not true because Dion was. 2 of my guys, just so everybody knows, were, especially Matt Campbell, were legitimate NFL coaching candidates. So that should tell you enough about their skill set as coaches, okay? Particularly Matt Campbell. He was in the mix for the Bears job. Secondly, his defense, his 3-5-5, is amazing, right? And it has, like, that's all anybody talks about, opposing offenses. And third, that team and that program was complete horseshit until he showed up. And he has now made them, the 2 Big 12 championship appearances, lost both. Last year, have they been in the Big 12 title game twice, Scotty, or just once? Maybe
twice, I believe.
Twice, okay, twice. And last year they won 11 games, most in school history. And they are showing no signs of slowing down. And I think the reason that we don't give Matt Campbell enough credit is because he's super boring and he wants it to be that way. Like I've interviewed Matt Campbell a couple times and he's super nice and cordial, but he ain't going to give you anything. Like he's not going to give you a lot. So I think sometimes folks shy away from giving him his just due. All right, Swingler, knock yourself out.
Pete, I think people have a perception of me that when I make sports arguments, it's all emotional and subjective and there's no objectivity to it.
No, I don't think that, but
So
you are emotional.
What I attempted to do, and anytime I make a list like this, I'm trying to hold everyone to the same standard. And maybe we can disagree about what the standard is, but if you have the same standard, it makes it really easy to pull emotion out of it and be objective.
You have a process.
And so, yes. And so I made up my mind on a standard. I want to ask you a question.
Oh, boy.
Who else is a head coach in the Big 12 who is remarkably boring, is known for being a defensive mastermind, and has actually won
Dave Aranda
in his big? Let me finish. has not only won in his Big 12 championship appearance, won in a New Year's Six Bowl over an SEC power, and is the only coach in the Big 12 who has won a national championship as a head coach or a coordinator at the top level.
Homeboy, I hate to do this, but you wanted him fired in the middle of last year.
So that's my point, Pete. When I removed emotion and when I removed my own bias, it was undeniable. Dave Aranda belongs on this list. So here's my list, Pete, and it's very simple. 4 coaches in the current Big 12 have won the Big 12. Therefore, all 4 need to be on this list, and they are.
What about Sonny Dykes? He played for a national championship. That doesn't trump winning the Big 12? I don't see him.
Making a championship game is not more impressive
the
than
national
winning.
Championship, they beat Michigan like they stole something.
Pete.
Like, that was
Pete,
I wrestled with that. Not having him on my list.
Pete, who did they lose to?
Georgia.
Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game.
It was a close game, though.
I don't care. I don't care. So this is where we're going to argue. Matt Campbell, every argument you just made for Matt Campbell is Dave Aranda, except Dave Aranda has won the big game. Matt Campbell has not, and I'm sorry, NFL teams have called you is not a good resume booster for me. What have you done in college football? It's why as much as I love Matt Rule, and Matt Rule did go coach in the NFL, he has not been a better coach for Baylor than Dave Aranda because he lost the big games. Dave Aranda won them, okay? And I'm the first one to tell you Dave Aranda's resume the last 3 years has bummed me out. But he has a national championship on his resume as a coordinator, and he won the Big 12. So he's on my list.
By the way, one little nitpick, and this is kind of like a positive. By the way, just shout out to our boy Kuz. You know it, baby. You know it.
Look at Pete.
Yeah.
Diverting because Scotty's dominating the argument.
Kuz is the man.
So listen.
Kuz is wondering why we don't have Rich Rod. All right, so look. Dave, my mom just said, would you let him finish?
Thank you. Thank you, Pete's mom.
Mom, hold on. So
come to Waco and see me.
Aranda is not boring. He's so interesting. I think that's like a misnomer. No, I think like he wants to be boring, but I think he's like fascinating.
He
like
is the most.
After they won the Sugar Bowl and he kind of had to go on a media tour, he was so interesting. Go ahead.
I don't think anyone in America finds Dave Aranda to be interesting.
I think you're wrong. Go ahead.
And I love him, but okay. So obviously I agree with you on Dillingham. Like you just can't deny what he did last season. And again, 4 coaches have won the Big 12. You left one off your list because you're a Aranda hater. You are. He gets on mine.
Aranda,
Dillingham gets on because of what he just did this past season. Gundy and Whittingham are the 2 that get on because of the resume. Cannot deny Mike Gundy. Again, he's won the Big 12. He's been in that championship more times. Again, more than Matt Campbell, Pete. More than Matt Campbell. He's consistently put one of the best offenses in America on the field for 20 consecutive years. Last year was an anomaly. Chris Kleiman, bro. This is where, again, I had to take emotion out of it. I did not want Chris Kleiman on here. I'm tired of Kansas State getting all this hype. You know how I feel about Avery Johnson. But the man made North Dakota State one of the coolest football programs in America, won multiple national championships, and has already won the Big 12. Again, defeating a TCU team that did go to the college football playoff to do so. He gets a ton of credit for me for that. And then Kyle Whittingham, it's just, again, it's boring. It's easily the best resume of any head coach in the conference. We will see. Both he and Gundy could be out next year. Like both he and Gundy, if those programs win 4 games again, could be out. But I think Utah bounces back probably this season. And it's just undeniable what he's done. So those are my 5. And here's I need a resume, verifiable, objective metric why Campbell is better than any of those 5, because I can't find it, Pete. Wins per season, championships, like NFL.
I think it's a situational pick for me. When you look at what he walked into at Iowa State, what he has built, they're like a 5-star destination now, which is like Ames, Iowa. Like, come on, dude. Like, they just had 2 wide receivers get drafted in like the first 3 rounds. Like, that's like unheard of for an Iowa State team.
But he was outcoached by Kenny Dillingham in a championship game, and you ranked him over Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah, because his body of work is more extensive at this point.
But Kenny Dillingham's okay. So like this
Can
is
we
what I'll
say
give you.
Dillingham too, and not Dillingham?
Is that how you say it? I don't know.
I say Dillingham. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. So here's what I'll give you. The toughest part in ranking these is body of work versus peak, right? So for me, that's what puts Whittingham so high. That's what puts Kleiman so high. That's what put Gundy so high. It is the body of work. Also, they've all won conference championships, which Matt Campbell has not. And then, it's for me, Aranda and Dillingham both. Like, Aranda has huge holes on his resume. Like, 2022 is still utterly, in 2023, utterly unacceptable as a Baylor fan. But I will take a conference championship victory, a conference championship over, we got there a couple times. Okay, great. If Matt Campbell wins the Big 12, he immediately catapults towards the top of this list. I give you that. But he hasn't. He has not.
All right, look, I respect you. I respect everything you said. I disagree. on some parts.
But can you give me a grounded
Oh, Mom, Scotty froze. It's perfect.
It is not. Everybody needs a Scotty.
Everybody needs a Scotty, my mom just said. Yeah, everybody needs a Scotty to freeze right now.
You should be.
Scotty, you're frozen. Or maybe I'm frozen. More respectful. I'm totally respectful of him. Now I don't know what's happening.
Is that why you just froze up?
Yeah, no, Scott, I don't know. Okay. What do we do now? I can't go to a break. I mean, I can keep talking for sure. I'm just texting Scotty, folks. You are frozen. So as you can see, Scotty probably broke something because he's so upset about getting dominated in this argument. That's something that happens every so often when you try to match wits with me. Right, Mom? My mom's here, by the way. I'm at my mom's house in Philadelphia. Last day here. In Villanova, yeah. I head back to Texas tomorrow. It's been a wonderful week. So hold on, let's see. Bear the Truth says Aranda has only been the coach for 4 years, head coach for 4 years as well. Look, dude, I love Dave Aranda. He probably should have been on the list, okay? How about this one? Kuz, my guy. Are coordinators included in this? No, Bear the Truth, they're not. Although Scotty did throw in Aranda's. They just lost the internet at Rogue Media. Isn't that great? Okay, but you're with me. So we are live, and I'll continue our talk here because Lord knows we can fill. All right, so that's enough with the list. I wish Scotty could take him down. Maybe I can. I think I see him operating back there. There you go. Now make me whole. Okay. So So Scotty, can you hear me now? Can I do Zach? Is Zach Burke there? Because guys, our last segment, as we navigate our way through some technical problems, I wanted to talk to Zach Burke about Hulk Hogan. Zach is notorious for how much he despises the Hulkster. And I've always found it to be pretty interesting. So I have all these questions here to ask Zach, but I don't know. I can see these guys. We might have to wait on Zach as it is 10:52. Scotty, I can see you. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Oh, here he is. There's Zach. We got a thumbs up. Okay. So our WWE, NWO, whatever you want to call him, our expert is sitting down. Last night when I was going through a thought process of like, what do we want to do for tomorrow's show? I was like, well, I got to talk Hogan. And then I was like, who can I talk to Hogan about? And then I was like, well, every time I think about Hogan, I think of Zach. Because Zach has told me that if Hogan's lips are moving, he's lying. And there he is. All right, Zach. Can
you hear me okay, by the way?
What?
Can you hear me okay, by the way?
Yeah. You sound good. You have forgotten more about wrestling than me. So I admit that. And your position on Hogan is rooted in reality, and there's reason for it. Okay. So let's just start off with the simple first question. What is Hulk Hogan's legacy? Go.
I think that he is one of, if not the most popular individuals as a wrestler, and he helped take it to another level that it wasn't there in the 80s. He is a big linchpin of, in my opinion, of the WWF becoming what it was. It was Vince McMahon finding his prize, possession away in Hogan. Granted, his dad found him before, but, Vince really kind of hooked his cart to him, and they went to the moon. And Hulkamania and everything that went with it, and all the, kids growing up and even the adults that were behind it, that to me is what caused the first real surge. There's two big ones. There's Hulkamania, and then there's Austin and Austin 316. But in the scheme of pro wrestling, he's going to be massive. He just has to be remembered as one of the greats. He's a Jordan. He's a Kobe. He's a LeBron.
All right. So,
that's just a wrestler.
Yeah. Was it timing or was it Hulk Hogan? That's something that I think it was Hulk Hogan. I think he was that from the way he looked to the way he carried himself, the character, right?
He was always very charismatic. Like, I can't take that away from Hulk at all. I think it was a bit of both. I think it was a bit of column A, a bit of column B, because I feel like there was sometimes, obviously, the way he was booked in matches and the way he was made to look so big and strong, it fed into the character he created then too. But and obviously take it for what is from the source, but Vince didn't want him to do Rocky 3 when he went out and did it, but he decided to go do that. And that was probably big for him. Going out and making his name out there and pushing in other avenues. I think, well, obviously that's him, and that's him making the character. I think some of it is Vince and just the wrestling side of it, of making him this big, just kind of undefeatable bruiser. But yeah, some of it is then Terry Bollea adding his own, personality into there. Or I think the quote that I always hear with wrestlers is, it's their personality turned up to 11, which what makes it the best. And so maybe that's what it is, but it was some of him then too, for sure.
Do you think those two together, because you mentioned it twice now, it seems like, talking to you, they really needed each other, like Vince and Hogan?
I think so. So the stories, and this is a part of it I love, of him going through and stealing all these guys from the territories before, because Hogan was wrestling up in, the Midwest and Minnesota and AWA and stuff like that. And that was the big guy. And once they were able to steal that talent and turn him into something, I think that's what then skyrocketed WWF as a promotion. They started bringing more people in, and it kind of, got bigger. But Hogan is the big linchpin for then. But the thing that Vince adds that Hogan didn't have before was it was a more regional game. So when McMahon made it a more, nationwide thing, that put Hogan in front of more people, and it was more than just all right, people here in the Midwest know me, or when I travel and I wrestle in Memphis, it's more you get the TV screens worldwide now. So it was, I think, beneficial for both.
How did other wrestlers feel about him?
It depends on who you ask. If you're one of his friends, they loved him. They have great things to say, and they will tell you kind of just the spiel that I gave you about how he's, one of the best, did so much for the business. What I hear a lot more from his contemporaries is a lot of dislike, a lot of disdain, a lot of talk about him being a company man, a lot of talk about him essentially throwing the boys under the bus a lot of times for, that relationship with Vince. I think I've talked about it before when we talked about the Netflix documentary that Vince did, but they spent a little bit of time talking about when Jesse Ventura was trying to unionize, because wrestlers still now are just 1099 workers. But back in the 80s was trying to unionize and get the, for them to be able to have like medical coverage and all of this stuff. And Hogan found out about it and went and just straight up told Vince, like stooged him out of like, hey, they're trying to unionize behind your back. And Ventura was eventually like let go and all of this thing for it. And he found out himself that in the steroids trial, like there's a lot of stuff when you get to Hogan, man. There's a lot, but in the steroids,
tell me about it. This is not a celebration of Hulk Hogan. No. This is truth serum. Like
I know, I'm trying to
tell me what you know and what your opinion is.
People, I would say the majority. I would say
I celebrated Hulk Hogan in the A block. If people want to see that, okay.
I don't like talking ill about the dead, and so I am not going to just bash him to bash him. But there are things about Hulk Hogan as a person that have just been noted for that are just slimy and just like I would say 80 to 85% of the wrestlers that know him have bad things to say about him. Like or
really?
Just like that's how it was in the wrestling like community. It feels like even things of these stories become lore and become quotes of him. Like there's that doesn't work for me, brother, is a Hulk Hogan quote, because there'd be a lot of times of where they'd pitch a match of like, hey, so this is what we're going to do. And, this and this, and he'd hear it all out and be like, no, that doesn't work for me, brother. And they'd like change it up so it would work better for him. There's a story that I love. Shawn Michaels. I don't know how familiar you are with wrestling.
I'm a sexy boy. Yeah.
Yeah. As a kid, favorite wrestler, still, I think one of the best performers.
The Heartbreak Kid.
Exactly. Well, this is the early 2000s, and they have this feud, and it's a big thing for the two of them because they never lined up before for them to kind of have this match. And the whole time they're building it up, and Shawn is under the assumption that it's going to be, they're working 3 matches, right? So they're going to split, and then Hogan will eventually get the go home, and like he wins it. But Shawn's going to get a win. Hogan's going to get a win. Like, they're going back and forth.
And then Hogan wins the big one.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they have this whole angle. They're working it for like a couple of weeks, months leading up to the first big match at SummerSlam. The day before, Shawn finds out Hogan can only work 1 match. Oh, and by the way, we're just going to have him go over on you. Like that he finds out.
So
the
Hogan
day
was
of.
basically like, I'm not losing.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not losing, and I don't feel like working the 3 matches now. We're just doing 1 where I go over. So if you go back and watch it, and I recommend anybody to go look it up because it is comical. Shawn Michaels goes out there and oversells everything on purpose as like a giant middle finger to Hulk Hogan for doing it. There's more things like that go on.
Give me another story about Hulk that is revealing, and that's we all know the sex tape. We all know the racism.
Yeah. That stuff I don't need to. Yeah,
it's egregious, right? But like, I want to hear some of the shadows with some of the other wrestlers or Vince.
Yeah. So okay, I'm trying to think of a good one like that. I do know that there's one where there's one with Bret Hart. This is WrestleMania 9, I think. Another same thing of him liking to change plans. The whole plan was he was going to go away for a bit. I don't remember if he's like shooting Tropic Thunder. Tropic Parrot. Remember that TV show he did with the boat and all that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tropic Thunder.
And what was it? Tropic Thunder? Okay. So, yeah. Or is that the Ben Stiller?
Oh no, movie? That was the Ben Stiller. It's Tropic something else. Okay.
It's Thunder in Paradise. So, or some movie. He's leaving for a bit, and so this is the time now that they're going to transition. Vince has told Bret, "We're moving on from Hogan. You're going to be our new champ." Something happens again. Day of the event or the weeks leading up to it, Bret finds out they do have a match where Bret versus Yokozuna, and they switch it to where Yokozuna wins and Hulk Hogan comes back to beat Yokozuna to gain the title that night. So this whole time, it's more things of where wrestlers are often told like, nope, Hulk's going to go away for a bit. He's going to go do his own thing. It's your time now. And they would plan out these whole stories just for either that not to go right or him to come back and be like, no, you know what? and then Vince would just usually a lot of times kind of cave around to it. The thing that works with, or what works with, the thing that ended up him going to WCW and them splitting is eventually they just offered him too much money. Like, I fully believe that if Vince could have paid him, Hulk never leaves and Hulkamania goes on until it runs dry. And it's, I don't know what they do. Thankfully, he goes on to WCW and they create the NWO, which Eric Bischoff stole from New Japan. But I mean, he did. It was an angle over New Japan that he stole and used it for this. And it revitalized his career. One thing that I feel that just kind of characterizes Hulk Hogan in this time, though, too, is after his star fades a bit to where he's not as big as he was, but it's still Hulk Hogan. He is very notorious for finding the next big guy, kind of globbing on and getting whatever little bit of heat he can have. And then when he's done, they'll trash that guy.
Like he did that to Randy Macho Man.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, but there would be like stories like the new young hot guy that would come in. Oh, Hogan would work a feud with him, and then after Hogan got the win over, well, that just kind of kills the guy's momentum. But Hogan got shine from it, so that guy's a lot of stuff like that. And then the steroids, like I don't.
So,
okay, I do have my favorite. Well, I'll wait till you go.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, and then I'll ask you one last question.
Okay, this is my favorite Hulk Hogan story because of just the absolute sheer ridiculousness of it. 1992, SummerSlam is being held at Wembley Stadium. It's a massive event for WWE. It's a big outdoor event. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm sure you know of it. You've seen pictures of it. Like, it was a big event at the time. Hulk Hogan tells a story about while he's over there for SummerSlam in 92 to wrestle, he meets with a kid for Make-A-Wish. And Hulk Hogan did do a lot of Make-A-Wish stuff, so I'm not going to he wasn't a completely awful guy. Like, he did do some good things. I'll recognize where it's there. Not to the level of John Cena, but still. So, and he tells the story if he met with the kid and his family there, and he really wanted to meet Hulk before the match. And he was supposed to be there ringside, but the kid, he loved it so much. It was the best day of his life. Hulk goes out, has his match. He notices when he looks ringside that the kid and the family aren't there anymore. Like, they were there at the start of the match. They're not there at the end. So afterwards, he's showering up and he's, getting changed. He asks his staff, he's like, hey, that kid, he and his family were there and then they were gone. Like, what happened? Like, oh, he had an incident while we were there, another episode. And unfortunately, on the way to the hospital, he died.
Oh,
and this really like shook up Hulk Hogan, like shook him up. So he tells the story about how back in the hotel, they're still like, about him and Jimmy Hart, and they're just taken aback by this. And they decide, like, they're just overcome with emotion, and they write songs, including one that's like, I'm going to butcher the name of it. It's like a Hulkamaniac in Heaven or something like that. That's inspired by this event about like how, touched he was by this. Now that song does exist and it's on an album, but I'm pretty sure the album came out before 1992. The other thing about that is if you look up the entire card, Hulk Hogan is not on SummerSlam 1992 at all. And it's things
so it was
like
a complete lie, you're telling me.
Complete lie. There's one thing that wrestlers are notorious for, and given the line of work, especially older guys, where it was so big to keep kind of like kayfabe alive and to keep the characters alive. So the stories of like, oh, I had the garden sold out and I did this and that and they popped for that. I expect all those stories.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan was a different kind of monster of, I was supposed to be the bass player in Metallica. I was supposed to get the George Foreman grill, but missed out and got the Pastamania, like, it's all things like that.
Well, his wife called him. What did she say? I want to get the quote right. His ex-wife, Linda, just a complete liar, right?
Yes.
A complete liar.
Yeah.
So all right. Last thing on Hulk Hogan, like
he told MTV Cribs when he was given a tour that after his match with Andre the Giant, which he was the first person to body slam him ever. Lie, if you look it up, like 25 other people had done it before him.
Bogus.
But he also said, and he passed away 3 days later. Nah, brother, he passed away 7 years after that. But sure. All right, go ahead.
So, all right, so that's it. That's all I have. I have one more question I wanted to ask you about Hogan, but it's escaped me because you've done such a wonderful job.
Oh, well, thank you.
No, you really have. By the way, my first question to you was going to be, why don't you have a wrestling podcast?
I don't watch a lot currently now. I just have like history and stuff like that. Like I don't keep
you should do like in the vault or something. I don't know.
See, I feel like there's better ones out there to do it better than like, I don't know, maybe.
I don't know,
I've
dude.
always enjoyed the Muppet Show aspect of wrestling. Like that's the thing. I've never, even as a kid, like the matches and stuff, like they're great and they're fun, but I've always enjoyed the politics and the things backstage and like how the sausage is made. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you certainly showed us some of the ugly sausage today. And look, I gotta like put a bow on it. Like Hulk Hogan, I would not have been into wrestling as a kid like I was if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. Like he's an undeniable talent. And so, you know, rest in peace. But a flawed dude. And here, one thing I was saying, Zach, earlier in the show is like, you know, man, like honestly, like I was lucky. Like, and I'm not just saying this because I'm back in my mom's house, but like I have pretty good parents. Like I understood that Hulk Hogan was not real when it was time to understand that he wasn't real. Yeah. So like, yeah, he was a screwy guy and he did terrible stuff and he was human. I mean, like, right. Like, so I think the one thing that, and this speaks to your point, excuse me with my pen, you know, he never really apologized for the racist remarks and the sex tape thing. Like, it was just like, you know, he won the lawsuit against Gawker. So it was almost like, look over there. You know what I mean? Like, so there was no accountability for him. Like if he had come forward, like, because I think his apology was almost like a kayfabe. Like it was like about the racist stuff. So I think he did miss some opportunities to really connect with humanity on like a genuine level. But he was just so busy being freaking Hulk Hogan that he could never allow like Terry Bollea to like come through and be like, hey, this is me. You know?
It's the same thing that I feel you see with somebody like Ric Flair. After a while, they become the character. Yeah. And he very much is that. Like, and that's what he was until the end.
I thought of my last question, and this will do it. I'm happy. When he got booed at that wrestling event, when he was hawking his new beer, right? The Netflix event.
Yeah.
Is that because, and I can't imagine it was because he was supporting Trump at the Republican National Convention, because wrestling fans aren't, you know, that they're pretty much okay with that. Why, really? Okay, so why? So tell me then, why did he get booed? With there was a palpable disdain that night. Why?
I think it honestly comes down to it is. I feel that sometimes wrestling in general does have a little bit more liberalism in there that people think, just to say that some of the events I've gone to, and like this was years before he was even president. And when Donald Trump was on the screen at the Hall of Fame event I went to, boos throughout the entire arena. Okay. So like it's always kind of been like that. Okay. At least with like, you know, a lot of that there.
So there's a little bit of like, we don't
there's
like
a little bit.
You like Trump. Okay.
But I think that's minimal. What I think the majority of it is like the stories I told you about of how he was with everybody else. These wrestling fans know now. Like that's the difference, is it's a more learned fan base of where they've heard all these stories. They know how you were to your peers. They don't like you just coming out and shilling stuff and just pretending to be on the same, you know, Hulk Hogan always was, when they know, and you never came out and was like, yeah, you know, I messed up here, and owned any of it. So like what you talked about there, I think that was the majority of it. I think it was them knowing and seeing what Hogan it was for Hogan.
All right, Zach Burke, you're the man. Hulk Hogan taught us to dream, but unfortunately the reality was much, much different. All right, we'll be back on Monday, dude. I'll be back in studio. I can't wait to see Scotty. I'll get to see Zach in person, and we'll do the thing. Mom, I have to take Charlie out. I got to take Charlie for a walk. Hold on. Stay here. Don't end the show. Come here. Charlie, come here. Come here. Stay. Can't catch him.
He thinks you're playing with him.
So Charlie thought I was playing with him. But this is Charlie. All right? Like, I like big, normal dogs. Right, Mom? What is this? Bichon Yorkie. Look, he's my brother, so he's family. So I have to love him. But like, we always had real dogs.
We always had labs.
Anything from you? No? What do you think about Hulk Hogan? All right.
Is Scotty still there?
Scotty's gone. All right. Well, no, he's there. Because why would he say anything? The dog's not that cute. All right, I'm going to take him for a walk. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.